TNA Turning Point 2011 pay-per-view review. The pay-per-view's last night exclusive on pay-per-view. As far as my thoughts on the whole entire show overall, it was unfortunately like a lot of TNA pay-per-views this year. Now, at least on this pay-per-view, you did have two good matches, I would say. You had a very good main event with Roode versus AJ Styles. Didn't have, bullshit, run-ins or anything. And with Roode being a heel, it made sense, him winning, him retaining the title with a roll-up holding the tights. And then the two had a very good match with each other, especially when going into the pay-per-view, AJ Styles recently got hurt at a TNA house show, so he was working this match injured, and he still had a good match with Roode, so that was pretty good. RBD versus Christopher Daniels was the other good match. So the two matches on the show going into that I was expecting something from pretty much delivered. Roode and AJ Styles, if AJ Styles probably wasn't hurt, they probably would have maybe done a little better, but still, very good match with them too. RBD versus Christopher Daniels, pretty much what I expected. And then when you look at the rest of the card, I think the rest of the card, everyone knew what it was going to turn out. It was a very weak undercard from TNA on this pay-per-view, which unfortunately is something TNA does a lot on their pay-per-views, is the undercards are a lot of times very weak, and this was another example of, a pay-per-view where, at least you had two good matches on there, but the undercard was so weak, it kind of hurt the show overall. And you didn't have, I think, anything spectacular on the show. You had two good matches, but nothing, spectacular or something like you must buy this show. Which, if, those two matches that were good were that type of quality of match, those two matches would have saved the show. But I would say, like I said, the undercard was very weak on here. A lot of the matches on the undercard were, decent, blah, nothing too special. Stuff you would expect to see on free television, which, if this is Impact in a lot of these matches, it would be okay. But considering it's a pay-per-view, you should be putting all your effort into the pay-per-views, which unfortunately TNA doesn't seem like they want to do. It seems like they want to put some effort and a lot of effort into their television shows, especially with, two title changes recently on Impact with, the Knockouts title as well, and they've been changing titles on Impact left and right recently, the world title and the tag team Knockouts title, and they seem like they want to put too much effort into their TV show, which is supposed to be used to build up your pay-per-view. I'm not saying you can't have good stuff on your TV, but you need to use that to build up to the pay-per-view and put your full effort into the pay-per-view, which unfortunately TNA doesn't understand that, and TNA wonders why their pay-per-views do not draw and not many people buy their pay-per-views. It's because they don't put their full effort into them, and people aren't going to say, well, I'm going to buy this pay-per-view for $35 if the company doesn't put their full effort into it. So like I said, two good matches on here. The undercard was very lackluster. So let me get into my review. The first matchup was Robbie E versus Eric Young for the TV title. Crowd was into this match. For the most part, they were fully behind Eric Young. Kind of got split by, let's go Eric, let's go Robbie E chants. In the middle of the match, saw some good back and forth action. Eric Young, did his comedy stuff in here within this match. Robbie E wins this match with the help of Big Rob in this match to win the TV title. And I'll say about, 1 3/4 stars, 2-star match. Pretty much the match you would kind of expect with two. Decent opener. The next matchup was Inc. versus Mexican America for the TNA tag team titles. Now this was a six-person mixed tag team match with, on Inc.'s side, obviously Jesse Neal, Shannon Moore, and Toxxin, versus on Mexican America, Hernandez, Anarquia, and Sarita. And the only thing that I can even complain about this match, because I actually thought this was a fairly good tag match, the only thing I can complain about this match, I think they, with it being a mixed tag match, they should have had Toxxin and Sarita be in the ring a little more longer than what they were, and should have been given a little more time in the ring with each other. Unfortunately, they didn't do that. That was really the only complaint I could have with this match. Shannon Moore looked great in this match. Him and Jesse Neal are work very good as a tag team. Neither one of the two, I would say, is that good as a singles performer. Shannon Moore is a decent singles performer, but these two as a tag team work very well with each other. I cannot stand Anarquia, and I gotta say, even Anarquia worked pretty good in this match. Shannon Moore and Jesse Neal worked very good when Hernandez, did his stuff as well. A fairly good tag match. These two teams have a lot of chemistry with each other. They aren't going to have, a match of the year tag matches or anything classic, but they have fairly good tag matches, and I did enjoy this match. The end of the match comes with Sarita with the referee distracted. Sarita came in there with the tag team title belt, hit Toxxin in the back with it, and then Sarita picks up the victory for her team, Mexican America, so they keep a hold of the TNA tag team titles. And I would say about a 2.5-star match, fairly good tag match. Next matchup was the X Division title match. This was Jesse Sorensen versus Kid Kash versus Austin Aries. Pretty much the start of this match, most of this match was Kid Kash and Austin Aries, the two veterans working against the rookie Jesse Neal, or the young guy Jesse Neal. Not Jesse Neal, Jesse Sorensen, I meant. They were pretty much working against him. Obviously, when they go for the pinfall, they were starting to argue with each other, and that's when they kind of went after each other. But a decent X Division title match. Unfortunately, Kid Kash, I thought, back in the day, he was really good in ECW, but it seems like ever since, WWE, he worked in WWE for that little stint, it seems like he's kind of stuck working that WWE style, which is not a good thing for him. And he just seems like he's stuck working that style, or that's just the style he wants to work now at his age. Austin Aries, is Austin Aries. He was pretty good in this match. I gotta say, Jesse Sorensen does have. I do see some potential in him. I don't see, future, big star in your company, but I do see him as a, top mid carder. I could see him being used as something good in TNA, especially in the X Division. So he looked very good in this match. The end of this match comes with Kid Kash. He hits the Moneymaker onto Jesse Sorensen. Then outside the ring, Kid Kash and the referee don't notice, but Austin Aries puts Jesse Sorensen's foot on the rope, so rope break. Then Austin Aries pretty much sneaks in the ring with a roll up onto Kid Kash, retains the X Division Championship, so Austin Aries is still the X Division champion. I would say about 2-star match, decent, but with Austin Aries in there, I might expect a little more. Kid Kash, at sometimes he can be good, but like I say, he's kind of stuck working that WWE style. And he just seems like he wants to work that slow-paced style. Then the next matchup was RBD versus Christopher Daniels in a no DQ match. This was the first match on this pay-per-view, which actually I would say felt like a pay-per-view quality match. This was really good. You saw a lot of good back-and-forth action. Obviously, a no DQ match. He did stuff outside the ring. Just a fairly good match, good mat work. A lot of good stuff with these two. Really enjoyed this. The end of the match comes with RBD hitting the Van Daminator onto Christopher Daniels. Then hits the 5-star frog splash for the victory. So RBD picks up the victory in this match. I would say about 3-1 4-star match. Other than the main event, this was the second best match of the night. And like I said, was really one of the first times on this pay-per-view. Actually, it felt like a pay-per-view quality match. Next matchup was Crimson versus Matt Morgan. Now, this match ended in a no contest, which I kind of understand, and I understand why TNA ended in a no contest, because Crimson and Matt Morgan, Crimson's, they're building Crimson up still with this undefeated streak. Matt Morgan, ever since he's come back, has been built up pretty strong, so I guess they felt like, if we would have had Crimson win this match and continue the undefeated streak, it would have helped him, but it would have hurt Matt Morgan a lot. So they wanted to just probably end the match in a no contest for that reason, and they did. The only problem I had with it, considering they wanted to end in a no contest, they had it go on a little too long, considering that was going to be the end of the match, I thought. They actually, for two big guys, they actually didn't do too bad with each other, just like I said. Considering they knew the match was going to end in a no contest, they kind of maybe dragged it on a little longer than what it should have been given. The end of the match, they're pretty much in a lock, tied up. They're trading strikes back at each other. Matt Morgan shoves the ref, then Crimson shoves the ref, then both of them shove the ref. So the referee rings the bell. Match is a no contest. Then after the match, both of them attack each other. I'll say, about 1 3 4-star match. Even if it didn't end in no contest, one of them actually would have won. It was pretty much the match you would expect from these two, not something too special. Then the next matchup was Abyss and Mr. Anderson versus Bully Ray and Scott Snyder. This was the epitome of a Impact match. This was what you would expect to see on Impact. Nothing too special with this tag team match. Just to get through it, you saw some decent back and forth action with these two. The end of the match comes when Scott Steiner, he hits the Frankensteiner onto Mr. Anderson. He's thinking Mr. Anderson's the legal man in this match, but earlier with a Abyss tagged into the match, Scott Steiner didn't know that. Scott Steiner was going for the pinfall on Anderson. Referee tells him he's not the legal man. Then Abyss gets him with the black hole slam. So Abyss and Mr. Anderson win this match. And I would say, about, maybe 2 and 1/4 star match. Nothing too special. And like I said, this was like the epitome of a Impact match. This felt exactly like something you would have seen on Impact, not something pay-per-view quality. Then post-match, Bully Ray and Scott Steiner slam Abyss through a table. That's the end of that segment. Then the next matchup is Velvet Sky versus Gail Kim for the Knockouts title. Now, I'm definitely glad, Gail Kim's back in TNA, and, glad that an organization, unlike WWE, is actually using Gail Kim. They might be, consider she just came back, they might be, using her, pushing her a little too strong, with her, winning the Knockouts title here, and obviously winning the tag team Knockouts title as well. They could have maybe, built it up for a little bit long, for maybe a month or two, and had some more meaning into it instead of her just coming in and winning the titles back. But considering Velvet Sky was Knockouts champion, I don't think many people are going to argue with Gail Kim, becoming Knockouts champion. I'm just saying they maybe could have waited, but I have no problem with it. I'm a huge Gail Kim fan, and I don't think many people want to see Velvet Sky as champion. So now with Gail Kim as the Knockouts champion, maybe we'll see something good with the Knockouts division yet again in TNA, because they do got some talented women there. Just, Velvet Sky is just not one of them, and thankfully the title's all for her. Like I said, the only thing you could have done, some people might argue, they could have, waited a little bit to give Gail Kim the title, but it's not like it's not a huge, big prestigious title, so it's not going to, really devalue or take anything away from it. Gail Kim could actually add to it, being the Knockouts champion. She wins this match kind of with the help of Karen Jarrett and Madison Rayne kind of distracting the ref, then hits her finisher onto Velvet Sky, and I would say, about a 1 3/4 star match, maybe 2-star match. Wasn't a terrible women's match. Then the next matchup was Jeff Jarrett versus Jeff Hardy. Now, this match I wasn't expecting going into the show, expecting a great match from these two, but I will say the one thing is this was the best built-up match on this pay-per-view. This was the one match TNA put a lot of effort into, and they did, build it up, making it feel like a pay-per-view match, a big pay-per-view match between these two, and a lot of good segments on Impact leading up to this pay-per-view with them two, doing stuff back and forth on Impact with promos and stuff. Just a lot of great stuff leading into it. Match-wise, they could have done a little different booking here. This is probably the one time I might say, TNA kind of did a little wacky booking here, but it didn't come off too bad, but I think they could have just had this match. What they did was Jeff Hardy pretty much defeated Jeff Jarrett three times. The match starts. He hits the twist of fate onto Jeff Jarrett, wins it there. Then Jeff Jarrett wants another chance, is given it. That time they actually have kind of a real match where they wrestle probably at least between 5 to 10 minutes. Then Jeff Hardy wins there with a roll up. Then it looks like it's over there. Jeff Hardy's going up the ramp. Then you see Jeff Jarrett hit Jeff Hardy in the back with the steel chair, saying he wants him back in the ring, drags him into the ring, hits the stroke, telling, Earl Hebner, ring, count, and this pretty much giving another chance for Jeff Jarrett. He looks like he's going to pick the victory up this time against Jeff Hardy. Like I said, hits the stroke, goes for the pin, and then right when he's about to hit the 3, Jeff Hardy reverses into a crucifix pinfall, and Jeff Hardy defeats Jeff Jarrett yet again. So he defeats him 3 times here. I would have preferred, with them just doing this, one fall without doing this. Jeff Jarrett gets 2 chances, and it's basically a 3 matches here. It would have been better if they would have just done all this in one fall, because, I think it could have been a pretty good match with these two. Maybe not a spectacular match, but it could have been something pretty good, because Jeff Jarrett, he's not, I wouldn't say Jeff Jarrett's really great, but when he's in there with someone that's a good performer, like a Kurt Angle or a Jeff Hardy, or just someone that's a good wrestler, he can have a good match. So I think they could have had a fairly good match with the two if they would have just had a regular match instead of doing this, booking this way. But I guess they want to continue it, kind of making Jeff Jarrett look like a joke, and Jeff Hardy was able to beat him 3 times in a row. This is his return to pay-per-view. I guess they just wanted to book it that way. That's probably the only decision on this pay-per-view. I would say I had a little problem with the booking where they could have just done it different. But Match-wise, I wasn't expecting anything great, so it was what it was. I would probably, give it, I don't know, maybe 2 1/4 stars, because when they actually did wrestle each other for the thing that counted as a second fall, that was actually pretty good. And Jeff Hardy, back in TNA for his pay-per-view return, the crowd was into this. Obviously, hugely, completely behind Jeff Hardy in this match. So, like I said, it was decent, and it was what it was. Then the next matchup was the main event. This was AJ Styles versus Robert Roode for the TNA title. Considering going into this match, recently at a TNA house show, AJ Styles got hurt, and he was working this match injured. Didn't affect him at all. I don't think it didn't look like AJ Styles was really holding back anything in this match, considering he was hurt. There were a few times you could tell, he might have been selling, just within the match, but there were times you could tell he was hurt. He was kind of limping at some parts within the match, but he didn't hold anything back. And these two, Robert Roode and AJ Styles, had a very good match. Good back and forth action. Was given, a decent amount of time. Was given, I wouldn't say 20 minutes, but probably it was given at least 15, maybe a little over 15 minutes. Good back and forth action. You saw some, good reversals. Obviously, a number of reversals in this match. Good back and forth action. Crowd was into this match. The end of the match comes. AJ Styles is about to hit the Styles Clash. Robert Roode reverses it into a roll-up. He holds the tights, and he retains the title that way. Obviously, with Robert Roode being a heel, makes sense, the match ended in that type of way. Robert Roode just wants to retain the title at any means necessary. And, Robert Roode as a heel, now, I would have preferred, him, obviously, the booking with the title picture the last month in TNA. Obviously, I think everyone knows my feelings on that. They should have had Robert Roode win the title at Bound for Glory instead of doing all this wacky stuff they did on Impact, where, for no reason James Storm won it, then he finally won it. And at least they got to the part where he is champion. And as far as him being a heel, they maybe should have waited, at least 2-3 months with him as a champion, as a face, kind of built up very strong, the crowd really behind him, and then turned heel, where it would have actually had a little more meaning. But in one sense, I kind of understand why they would want him to be a heel instead of a face, because Robert Roode, he can play both. He can do a heel, he can do a baby face, but he's much better as a heel, so I kind of understand that. And let's just hope that TNA, does good with his title run. Hopefully they don't, just have him have a very short title run and, keep passing the title around like a cheap whore. Hopefully, actually, this time they give him a title run that actually, matters right here. So hopefully they keep it on him for a little bit, and maybe, at least till lockdown, and maybe they'll can build up for that. James Storm and Robert Roode, they already did the match on TV, but I think them two could have a match at lockdown. They can build it up till then. So be interested to see what they do with the TNA title and how long they keep Robert Roode as champion. But like I said, the main event on this pay-per-view with Robert Roode and AJ Styles is good. I give it about 3.5 stars. Definitely the best match of the night. Second best match was RVD versus Christopher Daniels. Those are the two matches I would say is worth checking out. The undercard of this pay-per-view was a lot like a lot of TNA pay-per-views this year. Very lackluster. Now, I know some people have really been dogging on this show. I would say it wasn't a good show from WWE, from TNA. It was kind of what you'd expect, a throwaway show from them. I'm not going to say, it was a terrible show from them, but it was just a throwaway show, nothing too special, nothing's going to be too memorable. I would probably give it, about a 6 out of 10. I know some people have been giving it like under a 5, and I think that's kind of, overblown it. It wasn't a good show, but it wasn't necessarily like one of the worst shows of all time. Like I said, you at least had 2 good matches on here. The undercard is what really hurt the pay-per-view, I thought. So like I said, I give it 5.75, 6 out of 10. Definitely nothing I would say go out your way to order. I would say just if you want to see anything from it, check out 2 matches I recommend from it, which were Christopher Daniels and RVD was good, and the main event was fairly good as well. So that's it for my TNA Turning Point 2011 pay-per-view review. All right, peace.